There is something most people never realize about healthy habits, especially after the age of 60. The same drink that feels clean, natural, and beneficial on the surface can quietly stop working, or even begin creating subtle problems inside the body, simply because of one small detail in how it is prepared. This is exactly what happens with beet juice. Many people start their morning with it, believing they are supporting their heart, improving circulation, and giving their body something powerful to work with. And they are not wrong. Beetroot is one of the most effective natural foods for supporting blood flow, helping blood vessels relax, and improving oxygen delivery throughout the body. But what almost nobody explains is that beet juice is not neutral. It is active. It interacts with your system in a very specific way, and that interaction changes significantly as your body ages. After 60, digestion becomes more sensitive, nutrient absorption becomes more selective, and the body reacts more strongly to combinations that previously felt harmless. This is where the problem begins, because what most people do is not drink beet juice on its own. They mix it. They try to improve the taste, make it more refreshing, or combine it with other healthy ingredients. And without realizing it, they create combinations that interfere with the very benefits they were hoping to get. Some of these mixtures irritate the stomach, some reduce nutrient absorption, and others disrupt circulation support at a deeper level. And the most surprising part is that almost all of them look healthy. They are shared online, recommended by friends, and even included in popular recipes. So today, we're going to walk through the most common combinations that quietly reduce or block the benefits of beet juice, especially after 60. And more importantly, what simple changes allow your body to actually use it the way it was intended. The first combination is one that almost everyone has tried at least once, and it seems completely logical. Adding lemon to beet juice feels like an improvement. It adds freshness, brightness, and a sense of cleansing that many people associate with better digestion. For years, people have been told that lemon supports detox and helps activate nutrients, so naturally it feels like a perfect match. But once you understand what is actually happening inside the body, especially after 60, the situation looks very different. Lemon is highly acidic, and when that level of acidity meets the natural compounds inside beetroot, it changes the entire environment of the drink. In younger individuals, this shift may only cause mild discomfort or go completely unnoticed. But as the digestive system becomes more sensitive with age, this sudden increase in acidity can begin to irritate the stomach lining much more quickly. Many people experience a subtle burning sensation, a feeling of heaviness, or mild nausea shortly after drinking this combination, but they rarely connect it back to the mixture itself. They assume it is just normal digestion or something they ate earlier. What is more important, however, is what happens beneath the surface. Beetroot contains compounds that support circulation and oxygen delivery, but these compounds rely on a stable digestive environment to be properly absorbed. When the acidity becomes too strong, that process is disrupted, meaning your body may absorb far less of what it actually needs. So even though the drink looks more powerful, it becomes less effective. Over time, repeated exposure to this kind of acidic combination can also make digestion more fragile, especially for those who already experience sensitivity. This does not mean lemon should be avoided completely, but it does mean that quantity and context matter. A few drops may be tolerated, but larger amounts or daily use can slowly work against your body instead of supporting it. The second mistake is even more common, and it usually comes from a very simple place: taste. Many people find beet juice too earthy, too strong, or simply not pleasant enough to drink on its own, so they reach for something to soften it. Honey, sugar, or flavored syrups are the most popular choices, and because some of them are natural, like honey or maple syrup, they feel harmless. But inside the body, especially after 60, this changes the entire purpose of the drink. The main benefit of beet juice comes from its ability to support a specific process that helps blood vessels relax and improve circulation. This process is one of the key reasons people turn to beet juice in the first place. However, when sugar is added, it creates a competing reaction inside the body. Blood sugar rises quickly, which triggers a response that interferes with how effectively your body can use the compounds from the beetroot. In simple terms, The drink becomes less effective at supporting circulation, which is exactly what most people are trying to improve. What makes this more important after 60 is that the body becomes less efficient at handling sudden increases in sugar. Even natural sources can create a stronger response than they used to, and over time, this adds unnecessary strain. It can affect energy levels, increase internal stress, and reduce the overall benefit of what would otherwise be a very supportive habit. The irony is that beetroot already contains natural sugars that are balanced and easier for the body to handle when consumed alone. With time, most people adjust to the taste and no longer feel the need to add anything. If a softer flavor is needed, small adjustments like adding cucumber or a mild fruit can help without interfering with the body's response. The next combination is one that often looks even healthier than the previous ones, and that is exactly why it is so misleading. Mixing beet juice with orange juice seems like a perfect match on the surface. Both are rich in nutrients, both are natural, and together they create a bright, refreshing drink that feels energizing and beneficial. Many people assume that combining two healthy ingredients must make the result even better, but inside the body, especially after 60, this combination creates a mismatch that works against you. The first issue comes from how these two interact in digestion. Orange is highly acidic and digests differently compared to beetroot. When combined, they can create a situation where the digestive process becomes less efficient, leading to fermentation in the gut. This is why some people notice bloating, pressure, or discomfort shortly after drinking this mixture, even if they don't immediately connect the cause. But the deeper issue is what happens to the functional benefits of beet juice. The compounds responsible for supporting circulation need a specific environment to be converted and used effectively by the body. When orange is added, that environment changes, and the conversion process becomes less efficient. In simple terms, your body ends up receiving less of the benefit you were expecting. There is also another factor that becomes more important with age, and that is how the body handles natural sugars when they are consumed in liquid form without fiber. Both beetroot and orange contain natural sugars, and when juiced together, they enter the bloodstream quickly. For many people over 60, this can lead to fluctuations in energy, where you feel a brief lift followed by a drop. Over time, this pattern adds unnecessary stress to the system. The better approach is not to avoid these foods completely, but to separate them. Let each one be processed on its own, in a way that supports your body instead of forcing it to handle conflicting signals at the same time. Now we move into a combination that is often used with very good intentions, especially by people trying to improve their health quickly. Adding vinegar, particularly apple cider vinegar, has become a popular habit because it is associated with cleansing, metabolism support, and digestive benefits. On its own, and when used correctly, vinegar can have its place. But when it is added to beet juice, the result becomes much more aggressive than most people realize. The reason comes down to concentration. Vinegar is highly acidic, far more than most people expect, and when that level of acidity interacts with beetroot, it begins to break down the very compounds that make beet juice beneficial in the first place. Instead of supporting circulation, which is the main reason people drink beet juice, the drink becomes less effective before your body even has a chance to use it. At the same time, this combination places additional stress on digestion. Many people notice a heavy or uncomfortable feeling shortly after drinking it, sometimes accompanied by mild dizziness or a sense that something feels off. This is not random. It is your body reacting to a mixture that is too strong for it to process smoothly. After 60, this matters even more, because the body's ability to buffer strong acids becomes less efficient. What might have felt manageable years ago can now create noticeable discomfort. There's also an important point about balance. Beet juice supports circulation in a gentle, gradual way, while vinegar introduces a sharp, immediate effect on the system. When combined, these signals conflict instead of working together. This is why something that seems like a powerful health boost can actually reduce the overall benefit and create unnecessary strain. Keeping beet juice simple allows your body to respond in a steady and predictable way, which is exactly what you want. The next combination surprises many people because it is often seen as a way to make beet juice more complete or more nutritious. Adding dairy, whether it is milk, yogurt, or cream-based ingredients, is a common attempt to turn beet juice into something smoother and more balanced. On paper, it sounds reasonable. You are combining nutrients from different sources and creating something that feels more substantial. But inside the body, this combination creates a conflict that becomes more noticeable with age. Beet juice and dairy require very different digestive conditions. One stimulates certain processes, while the other requires a slower, more controlled environment. When they are consumed together, the body struggles to handle both at the same time. This often leads to a feeling of heaviness, bloating, or slow digestion that can last much longer than expected. Many people describe it as if the drink is just sitting in their stomach without moving properly. What is happening is that the digestive system is trying to process two conflicting signals at once, and it cannot do it efficiently. As a result, nutrient absorption from both sources is reduced. Instead of benefiting from the nutrients in the beetroot and the dairy, you end up absorbing less of each. After 60, this becomes more important because digestion naturally slows down and becomes less flexible. The body is less able to adapt to complex combinations, and what once felt normal can start to feel uncomfortable. This is why simplifying what you consume often leads to better results. When beet juice is kept separate and clean, your body can focus on using it properly, without distraction or conflict. Now we come to a combination that is often promoted as one of the healthiest options possible, and that is mixing beet juice with spinach. Both are considered highly nutritious, and together they are often described as a super drink. But this is where understanding concentration becomes critical. When foods are juiced, their compounds are delivered in a much more concentrated form than when they are eaten whole. This changes how the body processes them, especially after 60. Beetroot and spinach both contain compounds that, in moderate amounts, the body can handle without issue. But when combined in juice form, the total concentration becomes much higher than what the body is used to processing at once. Over time, this can create internal stress, particularly in systems responsible for filtering and balancing nutrients. The challenge is that this does not always create immediate symptoms. Instead, it builds gradually. You may not feel anything at first, but over weeks or months, the body begins to show signs of strain. This is why the combination can be misleading. It feels healthy, it looks healthy, but it places a quiet burden on the system when used regularly. The solution is not to avoid these foods entirely, but to avoid concentrating them together in a way that overwhelms your body. When consumed separately, they can both be part of a supportive routine, but when combined in a concentrated form, especially as a daily habit, they can move in the opposite direction of what you are trying to achieve. Finally, we come to one of the most popular combinations of all, and that is beet juice with carrot juice. This pairing is everywhere. It is used in juice bars, recommended in recipes, and often considered a classic health drink. It tastes good, looks vibrant, and feels like a natural choice. But once again, the issue is not the ingredients themselves, but how they are combined. When both are juiced, their natural sugars and active compounds become highly concentrated. Without the fiber that normally slows down absorption, these compounds enter the system much more quickly. For many people over 60, this creates a stronger response than expected. Energy may rise quickly, but it often does not stay stable. Over time, this pattern can place stress on the body, particularly in how it manages internal balance. There is also the issue of overall load. Both beetroot and carrot are root vegetables with their own set of compounds that need to be processed carefully. When combined in concentrated form, the body has to handle a much higher load all at once. This is why something that feels healthy in the moment can become less effective as a daily habit. The key takeaway here is not that these foods are harmful, but that combining them in this way is not always the best approach, especially as the body becomes more sensitive with age. Separating them allows each to be used more effectively, without overwhelming the system. Now that you understand what to avoid, the most important question becomes simple. How do you actually use beet juice in a way that supports your body instead of working against it? And the answer is much simpler than most people expect. The first principle is moderation. Beetroot is powerful, and more is not always better. A small amount is enough to support your system without creating unnecessary stress. The second principle is simplicity. The fewer ingredients you add, the easier it is for your body to respond correctly. Clean, straightforward combinations allow your system to focus on what matters instead of trying to process conflicting signals. The third principle is timing. Drinking beet juice when your system is not overloaded allows it to work more effectively. When the body is already dealing with heavy digestion, the benefits become less noticeable. And finally, consistency matters more than intensity. Small, repeated habits create better results than occasional extreme efforts. When you follow these simple ideas, beet juice becomes what it was meant to be, a supportive tool that works with your body instead of against it. The most important thing to understand is this. Your body is not the same as it was 20 or 30 years ago, and that is not a problem. It simply means it responds differently. What worked before may need to be adjusted, not because it was wrong, but because your system now requires a more thoughtful approach. The difference between something helping you and something quietly creating problems is often very small. A single ingredient, a small habit, a minor adjustment. But over time, those small differences add up. And when you start making choices that truly support your body, the results begin to feel different. More stable energy, better comfort, more predictable responses. Not because you are doing more, but because you are doing things in a way that your body can actually use. And that is what matters most.